up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols, brought to you by the Beautiful Game Network. I'm Mike. With me is Kev and Josh. The Hounds got their first 3 points of the season off of 3 goals from Albert Dikwa. We're going to break it all down and discuss whether or not we're actually going to call him Chico or not. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's see. Let's go. Kevin, I hate you. I hate you so much. right. Literally, as we have like a countdown on screen telling us like when we're going to start, Kevin decides to yell some obscenities at me just to shake me off my game a little bit. And
I think you should prove it, Mike.
Loosen you up. That's all. Just trying to make it more, fun, chill.
Whatever. It's fine. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Kev, how are you doing?
Good. Nothing to report. Everything's fine.
Great. Josh, how are you doing?
Excited. It's becoming real. Like, I know, like, obviously we've had 2 weeks now of Hounds games, and it's like, it's Hounds season has started, but it doesn't feel real until you have a home game, and like that's coming up now. Things are happening. We got tailgate figured out. We got TIFO figured out. We got merch figured out. It's just all like lining up, and it's feeling like, oh, this is happening. All right, let's do this. So I'm excited.
Yeah. No, it definitely it almost felt like the second we ended up, winning the game in Memphis, it all attention turned to, all right, it's a home game week. It's the first home game week of the season. We definitely started getting pumped in our house. The kids are getting pumped. Josh, I told you we went to Salvation Army today and scored some Hawaiian shirts. So we are ready. Really, really good stuff. I don't think there's any. Let's just dive into the game. Josh, you want to kick it off? First one of the season. Victory beverage. What are we enjoying this evening?
Oh, this is a Sam Adams Alpine Lager.
Oh,
very nice. The color. It's a nice color.
Green. I used to love Sam Adams. Like, that used to be my go-to beer of choice, and then I just kind of fell away from it. Got, I have to do craft beer now. I have to do all the hops and the sours and the other fun stuff. But I was like, I just want to go back to Sam Adams every once in a while.
Are you guys cans or glass drinkers?
I mean, normally, whichever one I pick. I don't have a preference really. I feel like cans lately. I feel like cans are just easier.
Kev, do you have a preference? I should say like bottle or glass, or like tap or glass.
I think there's like if a bottle and a can were in front of me of the same thing, I think I'd take a bottle. But there is something very like emerging from winter into warm weather about the can that just feels nice. It's probably the sound that, our podcast should know very well. But yeah.
Also, tailgate of choice, beverage container of choice would be a can. It's a lot safer. You don't have to worry about accidentally breaking a can or breaking a glass on the pavement. You drop that, you're a goner.
Yeah, more arm action too, right? I feel. Well, maybe not. You could probably have equal amount of like erratic arm action with. Yeah.
For those who were just listening, Kevin was just gesticulating various arm motions. Susan got me as like an early birthday gift a pub glass from. She said it was from Italy. I think it was just made in Italy, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. I've fallen into the habit of having a strongbow whenever I watch the game, and so I used to just take it from a bottle and pour it into a glass. But like the glass she got me, something about the shape of it. It's a totally different experience. Like you can like get more down your, with every drink, you get a big like set. I've never been one for that kind of stuff, but like I'm like, ooh, got to get my glass and get the drink on. And like, it's a thing. So if you would have asked me before, tap or bottle, or I would have been like, I don't care. But I'm now going to the other side. So I wasn't sure if either of you guys had a strong feeling one way or another. It sounds like.
I think there's something to be said about, doing something that you like. I don't know. I mean, it sounds obvious, like, but there's nothing wrong.
Making a ritual of it. Yeah. That's what I always like. Like some things you just like want to do the ritual, and it feels better that way. A little bit more pomp and circumstance behind it.
Speaking of ritual, Guys, this was the first time in a long time. There was some back and forth banter between the Steel Army and the Hounds as to when the last time this actually happened. But Lily rolled out the same lineup as he did in the previous game. Now, if you would have asked ESPN, they would have told you that it was not Lily. It was actually Coach Ryan Martin who rolled it out. Thanks to Justin for catching the screen cap from ESPN's broadcast. But they had us listed as having our head coach being Ryan Martin. It had us having number 9, Tommy Williamson, starting up top next to Kizza and Rovira. They had Robbie Mertz playing at right back.
Famous defender, Robbie Mertz.
Right, yeah, exactly. Just all over the friggin' place. And it's like, come on. I feel like was Ryan Martin the graphic guy that just was like, I'm gonna do this and see if anybody notices? Because where does even the coach Ryan Martin come from? Like, it's just completely out of left field. And so the Williamson is from like 2 years ago. Whatever.
I do love that idea though about some, intern who has to do this, and they're just like, you know what? Like, no way. I have no idea. And they gave me, 2 minutes to do this. No, I'm just like, I feel like they should have went further. Mike Tyson up front, just all over the place. So, yeah.
Yeah. For those of you, if you want to have some fun with this, send us your favorite non-Hounds lineup, maybe, fictitious lineup. We'll see what the best ones are. We got some gear lying around. Maybe we'll send you something. So send us a graphic with your favorite lineup that has nothing to do with the Hounds this season, and maybe we'll send you some swag. So hit us up on you can send it to us over on YouTube or on Twitter.
I like how non-committal you were, Mike. That was nice.
Yeah.
What do you mean? No, I got hats. We got socks still from like years ago. We got to have a jersey somewhere. We got stuff.
Your language of like, if you like throw a team together, I don't know, maybe we'll send you
It's like I'm coming up with this on the fly, so I don't want to commit to anything.
That's
But at the
right.
same time, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, sure. We'll roll with it.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. As Steve has pointed out, Ryan Martin is the Loudon coach. So
Yes.
again, yeah. Josh, thoughts on Lily going with the same starting 11 in back-to-back games? Good, bad, don't care. Where you stand?
I mean, it's not only back-to-back games; it's 3 in a row because the preseason game was also the same lineup. Because I remember making the comment that the preseason game had the exact same starting lineup as the first game of the season. Now this one had the same lineup, so it's like, oh, okay, that's yeah, this is our lineup for now. I still don't think we should expect it to always be this lineup though. Like he's going to start tinkering with it, and things are going to change throughout the season as far as like players, how they're performing, and more signings that we find out about. I can't remember, that was last episode we talked about the newest signing.
We did not talk about the newest signing yet, and I forgot to add it to the agenda. I just remember his name was crazy, and I don't know how to pronounce it. So
Zoot Suit,
Zoot Suit, yeah. we're gonna say it's Zoot Suit.
No, that's not. But yeah, it's yeah. So I wouldn't expect this lineup to be a trending thing, but at the same time, it worked this game. It worked really good. So
yeah. Kev, are you when you look at back-to-back lineups and you know how Lily has not traditionally done that, does that make you think that Lily has potentially changed his ways, or does that make you worry that maybe we don't have the players to rotate in the way that Lily has used to?
I think, I don't know. I was always of the opinion that Lily treats the first 5 to 10 games of the regular season as extended preseason. So I think it's a combination of factors where, one, he's still making signings, still trying to, integrate a lot of the new players. And I think also it's a combination where I get the sense that he might really like some players as subs, showing me I don't think he's a starter, but Jesus, he made an impact coming on in the last 2 games as a sub. So that kind of, further not forces your decision, but guides you in a certain direction of, okay, my whole list of forwards, if I know showing me is a great sub, well, then that's just one player that, and that's another player you can play. Same thing with Failing. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Failing. Yeah.
I thought he's come on in the past 2 games and looked lively. I like how he was like digging into showing me, even though I feel bad for showing me. I think he's doing a great job. I want his head to stay up and not get down on himself. But I like the fact of like players, especially new players, coming in and giving players an earful when they think they're not doing the job they should be doing. So I don't know. I think, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Lily comes out and plays this starting 11 again. I mean, I think the subs have been pretty consistent. I mean, I know I just said Chouin-Mi and Failing, but I think
Farrell,
maybe
in the past few games.
Yeah, he can't. So I don't know. I think it's one of these things where he's trying to keep a steady ship at the beginning of the season, where he's still treating this as almost an extended preseason, and then maybe once he feels like everything's in place, then he'll go back to maybe rotating more or picking different tactics for different games.
Yeah. Josh, you mentioned, this clearly was a game that it worked, at least on the score sheet. The Hounds came away with a 3-1 win. Dikwa got all 3 goals. Give me a takeaway. What did you like or not like from this one?
So I feel like looking around, especially I in the Mongols Slack, especially, I feel like people are down about this game for some reason. Like we win with a hat trick, and people are like, "Meh." I'm like, I don't get it. Like it was a good game. We did good. We did what we had to do. We had a clean. I don't feel the despondence about this game. I guess like it was a good game. We showed up and we did what we had to do. We could have had more goals. This could have been easily 5-0. Like it, which I mean, I think is a good thing that we got 3. We got a hat trick. And Chico, if you want me to call Chico, you keep on getting hat tricks. I'll call you whatever you want. So like, I don't get the kind of blase feeling that some people have like about this game. Like I thought it was a really good game.
Was that somewhat directed at me?
You're not the only one.
I can't remember how I ended up coming across in this one. I will say this. I think as a result of this game, I have been, vocally down on the team all preseason. And even after the last game, I was like, one of the big things I wanted to see between the last game and this game was any sort of tendencies of there being some semblance of a strategic way that the team is trying to go about their business. And it's not just like 11 guys on the field running around, because 11 guys on the field running around, not working as a cohesive unit, is not how you're going to win things in this league. And I think that this game in particular was a bit more of it felt almost like a scramble. Josh, to your point, like Tula could have had 2 more goals in this game, and it very, very easily could have been 5-1. There was a moment early on, Ibarra had sort of an open net and sort of slid it back towards the keeper. So we could have had even more. Now, I think Steve put the message here in the chat about, how much of this is the Hounds playing really well and how much of this is Memphis being really bad? Memphis has a whole new coach. Their coach that did wonders for them last year is now off with the battery. They just got a new keeper today. They brought in former U.S. keeper, is it Bill Hamid? So they're still working some things out. But I think, to your point, we got the job done. And that's what, we started off the first 2 games and we're averaging 2 points a game. You can't complain about that. And even if, Kev, yeah, you're smirking. Even if
sample size of 2, yeah,
it's a sample size of 2. But when we started this, Memphis was ranked sort of top of the East after what they did last year. Everybody had high hopes for Memphis, and we rolled into Memphis and made them look kind of silly. To be honest, it wasn't a game in which I felt we imposed a system or we imposed a style, but we still got 3 points. And so that's kind of how you have to measure things at the end. So I've said all preseason that I was hoping I was wrong, that I'm willing, I hope to come on this show and eat crow and say that I was wrong about this team. Do I think that we can play scramble games like this all season long and keep winning? I don't know. Were there things that I saw in this game that I really liked? Yeah. I thought that Mertz, once again, looks like he's filling the Cicerone spot, if not better than Cicerone did last year. had a couple of opportunities. The first goal came off of his set piece that he sort of curled into the box. I thought that Rovi and Dos Santos both look really good. Dos Santos and Mertz in particular were on the same, when they're on the same side of the field, that little overlap that they got going, you can tell they've played together for the past 2 years because they just know where each other's at, and that's working really good. And Kev, you mentioned, you'd like to see Showing Me come off the bench. One of my concerns about Kizza in the offseason was that we saw nothing from him until the Birmingham game. And then it was like, oh, he's like, the greatest striker ever. And it's like, well, now we're back to, these 2 games, and I haven't seen a ton, whereas Tola's come in and, like I said, he should be on basically 3 goals after the first 2 games also. He should have scored against Birmingham. We mentioned that great save from the keeper. And then he had 2 goals here. The first one, I can't remember if it was Failing or Mertz. One of them crossed it through, and it would just got caught on his feet. And then the second
first one was Mertz. Yeah, the second one was Failing.
The second one was Failing, but both of them, he was in the spot he needed to be, and then he had the assist on Dikwa's goal.
It was a great pass,
and it was a great pass. So part of me thinks that he sort of earned a starting spot over Kizza. Kev, why not?
I think because I don't know. Now this is the kind of super sub dilemma, because until you start Showing Me for 2 or 3 straight games and give him a full 90 minutes, it's easy to fall back on the excuse, which I'm about to do now, of, yeah, he only looks that good though because he's coming on against tired legs. He's a big physical presence. He's fast. He's tall. He's strong. And he's a handful. And so he could turn around equally and say, yeah, give me 90 though, and I can do this all. And I'm turning around and saying, no, you're only doing it because you're going against tired legs. So I until he gets a run of games, I don't think we're really going to have that answer. I think look, Dikwa gets the amount of games he gets, especially last season. He keeps the likes of Dane Kelly on the bench. I mean, I'm cherry picking my version of news here. But Dikwa gets the amount of games he gets because he works hard and because he works in the system that Lily wants. And I think that's why Dikwa's getting the time he's getting this season. I think that's why Kizza's getting the time that he's going to get this season. I think Lily cares more about what you're doing off the ball. I mean, there are some coaches, I think, where if he knew a striker was going to get 2 goals every 3 games, then he can say, I don't care what you do. You can sit down when we're out of possession. I don't care. Lily's the exact opposite of that. I think, I'm sure he would have still had words for Dikwa, in this game. Why didn't you need to do this, you need to do that, and you need this. And so, and I think that's what Kizza brings. And so, yeah, I'm not entirely convinced of that, but we'll see.
Josh, where do you stand? Kizza or Showing Me for the home opener this week?
I mean, USL Tactics had a whole thread about the link up between Kizza and Dikwa and why that dynamic was working for us, and how that was actually even though Kizza didn't get a goal, it was more about the dynamic between the two and the linkage and how they were able to pull defenders away from one another. So I do think there's something there where the link up between the two is why Chico was able to get his hat trick. So I think you're taking, even though Kizza wasn't a goal scorer, I do think he had an important role to play in this game and is a lot of the reason why Chico was able to get the hat trick. So yeah.
You didn't answer my question though. Which one are you starting on Friday?
No, I'm saying Kizza. I'm saying
okay.
That dynamic between the two of them is the secret sauce, and you take away him, and I don't know if you have those goals.
I think the other thing that I kind of like, and we just need to see more of, is for pretty much all of last season, Dikwa was the guy up top. And I think when Tula came on, Tula was the guy up top, and Dikwa had the opportunity to sort of play that false 9. And I think that's where his third goal came from, was the fact that he could sort of hang a little bit central, a little bit back, and get a little bit of run on that play. That Tula was a little bit further ahead and was able to drop the ball in, and Dikwa had less concern about being offsides because he wasn't the last man up top. And so that there might be something there to keep an eye on later as well. Other thing, I don't know if he actually got the second assist, but that goal started with Jamali Waite. He basically punted it out to Show Me, who then just tapped it to Dikwa. And that was one of the other things that I was interested if you guys have thoughts on. There are different coaches that have very different approaches to how they want to play a game. So you have coaches that are very focused on build up play, and you want to maintain possession, and you want to be very methodical as you sort of work the ball up the field, and you want to start out from the back and draw the other team into you so you have more room to play through. And then you have sort of a more traditional English method that's very much direct and over the top. And if you had your choice, it feels like I think one of my concerns in the first game was that it felt like we were almost doing too much of the possession stuff to a fault, where it was like, we're trying to hold on to the ball. We're going to pass the ball backwards more than forwards just to maintain possession. Whereas in this game, the 3 goals came 3 totally different ways. One was off a set piece. One was a pen. One was this sort of quick strike kind of thing. Kev, do you have any thoughts as to how you think Lily may be approaching this season? Is it a combination of all things? Is it we want to, your boy Etu, I don't know how you felt about this game. Didn't really seem to make an impact like he did in the first one, but thoughts on sort of style of play here?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'll say, given the historic perspective of how Lily plays, contextualized by how it all went last season, where it felt like we were more likely to win games, 4-3, 3-2 than 1-0. I think he's shown evidence of evolving to the set of players at his disposal. And I think that's probably what he'll continue doing. I mean, I've gained more and more respect for coaches and managers who, it feels like throughout world football, it got super in vogue and important to have a philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't have a philosophy, you weren't hireable, or you didn't have a direction, or you didn't, and I think now people can argue with me and say this isn't true, but like, I would say there's a good argument for the Carlo Ancelottis of the world that says, look, I get the best out of the players that I have. And so if the players that I have suggest we play a certain way that best optimizes their skill set, then we play that way, whatever it takes. And I think I'm kind of putting Lily in that category, where I think historically he's been, we don't give up a goal, whatever that means, whether that means I want my forward to, chase back and help out my fullback, or, we'll play 5 at the back or whatever. I think Lily's just saying, look, okay, these are the players at my disposal, and we'll get the best out of them in whatever way that is. So, I think in this game, it did feel a little more counterattacky. We were clinical, and it did contrast a little bit in the first game, but I don't know. Once again, small sample size. We're only looking at 2 games here, but I don't think Lily's going to be put in a box and just kind of typecasted as, oh, Lily plays this way every season in, season out. And I think we'll kind of see that again this season. I don't know what that'll be yet, because I still have to feel out these players. But yeah.
I somewhat agree with that, but I feel like if he was full blown, like, I'll get the best of the players that I have, then, there were players last season, like an Alex Dixon, that wouldn't have been playing right wing all season. So it's, I think that he has a mindset of how he thinks the league is going to play this year, and then he tries to build a team around that. That said, I'm not sure. I mean, you're right. It's a small sample size. In the first game, Mertz's goal came off of sort of a quick strike. It, started at the back from Ordonez across to him. 1 or 2 touches, it's in the goal. I sort of, any sort of set pieces, pens, things like that, you sort of discount because it's not really coming from run of play. It's coming from, the team being in opportune positions, which is great. So I think, we'll have to just sort of wait and see what the identity of this team is. I'm still hoping that we have an identity. I did put in the notes that I thought that the defense looks like defense.
I'm really happy with
looks mid-season form after 2 games. Like they look good.
Yeah, Hogan, Ordonez, and Farrell. I think that's a really, to the point where I'm a little surprised that he's not playing 3 at the back with them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe he's thinking if one goes down, then I have to go to 2 center backs, and I don't want to do that. So maybe he just likes keeping one on the bench. I don't know, but
I wonder if we might see that this weekend.
Because really, they're all very good, and they all I think Lily wants to put his center backs in kind of high pressure 1-on-1 defending situations. All of them are comfortable doing that. All of them have the speed to do that. All of them have the height to just out jump the other the opposition striker. They know when to step up and know when to cover it. That one of my favorite things. I can't remember if Hogan or Farrell was on the field, but one of them stepped up and just instinctually, it's not a right word, instinctively. One of them stepped up, and Ordonez just continues his run, dropping back, covering in case he misses. And then the 2 fullbacks were covering around. It does seem like the defense is in mid-season organization right now, and that's good.
Yeah. Josh, how are you feeling after this one?
Great. I don't I'm not like last year where, at the beginning of the season, we're never going to lose. We got this. I do think that obviously there's some weaknesses in this team, but I do think the grit is there. The defense is much closer to being where we want them to be. And I think it's only going to get better as far as that goes. I would like a clean sheet, to see one of those. Hopefully Friday we get to see that. And yeah, I just we have goal scorers that can score goals. That's what you need. And I do think passing the ball backwards and that kind of stuff, that's not Lily's style. I don't think it ever actually has been, to be fair. The one thing that we always joke about every preseason, every game where you can hear Lily yelling, those Loudon games with an empty stadium, or the Red Bulls 2 games with an empty stadium, and you can hear Bob clear as day on the broadcast. You hear him yelling, forward, get forward constantly. It's not like he wants them to be passing backwards. He wants to see forward momentum with the ball. So I don't know. I don't know if this is Lily evolving to fitting to fit what the league is becoming, or changing his style. I think he actually would prefer if we did not pass the ball backwards.
Nice dig at Loudon there. Yeah, I would agree too. Yeah, something I was going to say before was I'll start this by saying it applies to the Hounds, but I think it really extends to most of the USL. I could be wrong. I don't recall too many goals where we're putting together 15 straight passes and it ends in a goal. I think it is more I think anytime a lot of the USL teams that we come up against or that we see, once you give the opposition time to structure itself in defense and you're trying to build up play, it's hard at any level to break down a set organized defense that you're not catching in transition. I would argue is probably even more rare to see it on USL level. I think so many of the goals that happen on this level are from quick breaks, set pieces, mistakes, by defense, or just 2 touches and then someone does something great and puts it in the back of the net. I think that's more of what you're going to see, and it does seem that's kind of how we play. But generally speaking, too, I don't know. I think I'm in the odd position of being the most optimistic out of you two. I like this team. I think it has a lot of really good balance. Now, I don't think Dikwa is going to score 3 goals every week. Yeah. and I think there will be games in the future where we're not as clinical. I thought I saw a stat somewhere on Twitter that said like Dikwa converted like 86% of his chances or something like that. Like that's not going to continue. But I think I think Rivera and Dos Santos had good games. I think defensively we look good. And from the midfield we look good. I'm ignoring Steve's comment here. I don't know if that's directed for me being too optimistic or you guys being maybe too down. I say you guys. I think Josh is pretty in the middle. Mike, yeah.
I've listened compared to where I was in the preseason. I'm definitely like raising up. Like I'm more optimistic after seeing. I don't know how much of it is what I've seen the Hounds do the past few weeks, as much as it is looking around the rest of the league and seeing where everybody else is. And I mean, that's all going to, change and level out over the next
Memphis
5 to 10
crap,
games.
I can tell you that.
But I mean, that's part of it, right? So it's like we still don't know what we are yet. It's good to see that we won this one, but it's still not 100% clear what we are. I mean, the one other thing that I just had in the notes was that I was impressed that at the end, when we were basically trying to kill off the game, Memphis really didn't have a chance. But Tula once again got the ball and started heading towards the goal, and I was like, "Oh, this could be it. He could have his goal." And he totally pulled up, and instead kept possession, passed the ball back, and a few seconds later, the ref blew the whistle and called it. So whether that was Bob screaming at him and saying, "Don't go to goal," or not, I don't know. But there's a maturity level, I think, to this team that, Kev, you're always talking about the dark arts and sort of having a little bit of that grit. And we've seen some of that these first few games, and that's encouraging as well. So
I'm curious to see out of the first 2 games, what do you guys still think is like maybe the weakest point of our team? You can say positionally, or maybe even just like something we're not doing particularly well as a team, or I hate to be down because you can flip it and say, what do you think? Like, for example, like I think some of the best things we're doing, I think our subs look great. I think our subs are impacting the game, not only just showing me, but I think, from the, failing Biasi, Farrell. I mean, I think all of them are making significant. I mean, like, I think the subs are making big impacts. I think our defense looks good. I think, putting that out of the way, what do you guys think is something particularly that we need to like maybe look at?
Josh, what do you think?
I mean, it has to be our attack. I mean, even though, Chico gets a hat trick, he got a hat trick against Memphis, which, I mean, I know we're not looking at the table, obviously, but looking at power rankings, even like USL has them 23rd out of 24, and then Backfield has them, I think, 24 out of 24. Like, it's like they are bottom feeder team at this point, which kind of concerns me that they fell like 7 positions or 5 positions because they lost to the Hounds, and everyone's like, "Oh, this team sucks." It's like, whoa! What are you trying to say about us?
Yeah.
Wow, they're so bad they lost to the Hounds. Woof. But yeah, I do think we're gonna need to have a better game plan for attack up top, and that's really what it comes down to.
And I think that's the story of the team the past few years. Go ahead, Kev.
I was gonna say, I mean, like Dikwa has now scored almost 30% of all the goals he scored last season.
Golden boot runner Dikwa right now, neck and neck with
Alex Dixon.
Alex Dixon. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Alex Dixon.
Yeah. I think that there's still a position or 2 that I think we could upgrade in our starting 11. And I don't know if there's somebody on the bench that could actually step in and fill that spot.
Is there a specific position you're thinking about?
I will say right mid. Well, and you could sort of do the math to figure out who I'm talking about in particular.
Ibarra?
But yeah, there's been the past 2 games just a lot of passes to no one or passes where players don't need them to be and they're backtracking. And I'm a little bit concerned about how much stock Lily has put in to sort of him stepping up and sort of, filling almost a Danny Griffin type role. I will say, when we got late in the game and Lily took off Kenny and Mertz, he had Ibarra slide back into the middle and sort of maintain the central midfield. And I thought he did okay there. I'm just worried that this is another case of playing somebody not in a position. I made the reference on Mongols that, and this is harsh, but it feels to me like Ibarra is like a FIFA player he's like a Sunday league player that's really, really good at FIFA. Like he knows what he wants to do. He just can't pull it off when he's actually playing. And so you could see that mentally it's there. It's just not coming off on the field. And so
I think Lily likes him because he has a good engine. I mean, he finishes this game. I think he finishes the first game too.
Yep.
And it looks like he still has legs late in the game. And I think Lily kind of puts a lot of value in that.
Yeah. I think I just feel that his position is more the Kenny E2 position, but like he's not as good as those guys. So it's just like finding a spot for him on the field.
Yeah, I would put him much more in the mold of E2.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on who was it. Show me who went to the corner at the end of the game instead of going for the goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show me. Yeah.
I disagree with that. At that point, I think we literally. Here's the thing. I think we literally had like 20 seconds left in the game. It wasn't like it was like, oh no, there's going to be so much time for the counterattack, and like you're up by 2 goals. Like, go for the freaking goal. There's less than a minute left in the game. It's fine. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, tactically, he made the smart decision. It's like, I want a little bit more fire, like a little bit more like I want that goal. Yeah. You know, I want to get on the score sheet, and like especially when there's like minutes left in the game, it's like you're gonna be fine. Like if we would have lost it because he went for goal and they got a counterattack and they scored, like that's more of a defensive issue than it is a him issue.
I get what you're saying, but it feels like him choosing to pull up was almost his way of putting the team before himself, and that's what I appreciate. So
humbug.
It's like
that's the one position where I don't want them to put the team in front of themselves.
Well, it's not even like if it was like 5 minutes left in the game, I get what you're saying. Like trying to slow the game down, trying to get but at that point, it's the dying seconds of the game. Just go for it, dude. Like there's no reason to like. That whole team first thing.
I think it almost points to showing me sometimes can be too like cerebral. Like I think he almost thinks about things too much, and I think that points to like some of his missed chances where he maybe he's thinking his way through it rather than just reacting and being instinctual with stuff.
Let me ask you this: obviously, small sample size, 2 games, showing me 9.5 goals this season. You taking the over or the under?
Oh, jeez,
Kev.
Probably under. I mean, let's not forget Dikwa gets 11 last season. So I don't think his rookie season is going to be almost Dikwa. I think he looks good, and I think he's going to contribute a lot. But I also think he's not going to be starting a lot of games. And
Josh, what are you taking?
That's my issue. It's not that I don't think he has it in him. I just don't know if he's going to get the time on the ball to get those goals. I think it's going to be under.
Steve is saying under as well. I'm taking the over. I think in the first 2 games, he's put himself in positions to get 3 goals that were like, how did you not score those? And this is his first 2 games as a pro. I think you give him some more time. I think he gets into double digits this year. And that's potentially as a super sub, Kev, to your point. He's come on as a sub in these games and had 3, amazing chances. So we'll see. It was also Memphis. I don't know if you guys saw Birmingham came back to life this week with Tyler Pasher just running through teams and scoring the way he used to. So
I was going to say, I will say, yeah, Birmingham looked better than Memphis to make an obvious statement. And there were flashes in that Birmingham game where I was like, oh, okay. I see how they're going to be dangerous this year. And I'm happy that we got an away game with them kind of off our schedule.
Out of the way. Yeah, real fast.
Guys, anything else on this one before we sort of move on to some of the other stuff?
So you mentioned, who you're kind of concerned about, what position, like, what are you guys' thoughts on DeSantis?
So that was
Kevin?
going to be my answer. So I actually think I like Dos Santos. I think Dos Santos and Rivera get in the team similar to why Ibarra gets in the team. I think both of them have legs and they can run, they can get up and down the field. I'm not convinced of them both at fullback, especially like this is unfair, but like when you compare against like even forget Ryan James, like I'm probably taking Jordan Dover over both of them, like without even really thinking.
Yeah.
And their Memphis's goal comes from a mistake from both Dos Santos and Rivera. I think Dos Santos, he's defending and I think for me, he lets the cross in a little too easily. And then Rivera doesn't. And now, to be fair, the Memphis guy made a good run and cuts across the box, but Rivera loses them. And it ends up being kind of two half mistakes from our fullbacks. I also don't know how much they're going to give us going forward. So I think both of them can kind of get a little lost in the game. I don't know. I'm cued on to your kind of radar there, Josh.
That's part of why I think it might be interesting to see if we see 3 at the back at this game this weekend, where it's like Lily really wants to shut it down, put on a show, gives both of them a little bit more free reign to push up, less defensive responsibility.
I will say, I think historically, if you're going to be weak in an area, let it be fullback.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, like,
keep that spine strong.
Well, yeah, my favorite example was what I think like this was both like 6-7 years ago, but like Chelsea win the league with like Victor Moses at right back, and like Liverpool almost win the league under Brendan Rodgers with like Ali Sissoko at left back. Like, yeah, and like John Flanagan at right. I mean, like terrible fullbacks, and just so I think you can create a pretty strong team and not have to have stellar fullbacks.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think you're doing anything great if you have 2 crap defenders, central defenders, or 2 crap midfielders, or 2 crap, forwards.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And I'm not calling DeSantis and Rivera crap.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's
yeah. Well, guys, the Hounds, as we mentioned, they won 3-1. If we look at the pick'em standings, we had a couple people call this game spot on.
Wow.
I've realized that the past few weeks I've called the halftime score. So I think this week I just need to be a little bit more aggressive and think beyond the first, 45 minutes. Our leaders this week, Dan Yost with 3 points, Keaton Liebengood with 3 points. Kev, you still have 3 from last week. Laura Ellen has 3. JF now on the list with 3, and Justin called this game just right, 3-1. So he has 3 points as well. There's a couple people nipping at their heels with 2 points because they picked the results correctly. And then, it's pretty tight as you'd expect after the first 2 games. But this is also clear. It's not too late to get involved. If you guys want to play, what is on the line is 2 free season tickets for the Steel Army section for 2024. So whoever wins this thing, and we, like the Mongols crew, cannot win it. It's got to be somebody outside of the Mongols crew.
Where are you guys at on this list? I don't even.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff. You picked 1 game right. Anyway, you got the result wrong this week. So,
I got to get my shots in while I'm up.
While you're on the board. So yeah, head over to Twitter, head over to YouTube. We'll post the link to become a supporter. Even if you're not a supporter, you can still play. You just won't win the tickets. So basically 2 days before the game happens, we will put up a post on YouTube where you can leave a comment with your score prediction. We will keep track of the score predictions. We'll share them here. And like we said, the winner at the end of the season with the most points, 3 points if you get the score exactly right, 1 point if you get the result right. So win, tie, loss, and then no points if you get nothing right. Winner gets 2 free tickets for next season. So come play, become a supporter.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not too late. As we said, you pick 1 game, you pick the next score prediction right, and you're on the board near the top. So come and play. Guys, one other thing just to note before we dive into sort of the home opener, the team is having a meet the team event Tuesday this week, which could be today, depending upon when you're listening to this. It is for season ticket holders and the media, but we had talked about this, Josh, in the preseason, where typically the team would do this in the preseason. We'd see the new kits. We didn't hear anything about it. Came out this past week. They're doing it Tuesday, which is either today or tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this. So if you're a season ticket holder, hopefully you got your announcement and you get to head down there, get to talk to the guys, talk to the coaches, talk to the front office, maybe see the new kit, which the team had teased that there is going to be something new. It looks like we'll have the home gold and black stripe, and we have the gold and gray that we've seen the past 2 games as sort of the away kits, but it sounds like there might be something as a third kit. So we'll see. Yeah. So there's that. Otherwise, home opener this Friday, 7 p.m. I gotta just give the reminder to everybody.
Oh, and remember, next Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah. Josh, what's in store?
Okay, so as far as festivities and what's going on, so yes, Hawaiian Shirt Day. Steel Army at least is doing Hawaiian Shirt Day. It's not an official Hounds thing, so if you're not standing with the Steel Army, then you might feel a little bit out of place. But you know what? Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Yeah, just wear a Hawaiian shirt if you're not going to be in our section.
Yeah.
You should be in our section.
No, wait, hold on real quick. It did dawn on me as I was walking out of the Salvation Army with 5 new Hawaiian shirts that we're wearing Hawaiian shirts while we're playing Miami, which feels like we're in support of Miami.
False sense of security for Miami players.
All right,
they're going to come in. They're going to, oh, look, they're wearing Hawaiian shirts. We got a lot of fans. Why are they booing us? So that's what's going to happen. But yeah, so yeah, Hawaiian Shirt Day. But also, if you want to be in the thick of it, Steel Army is starting early. We typically do a noon tailgate, and we decided, even though it's a work day, we're still doing a noon tailgate. So many of us have called the day off or taken half days, or said we're sick. The usual.
Preemptively said we're sick.
Right.
Yeah,
sick on Friday.
I'm gonna be sick tomorrow. So yeah, starting at noon. It's also a whole new setup. We talked about this a little bit before, but there's a VIP section now for parking, and the Hounds let us snag 4 spots in the VIP section where we don't have to have cars. We can just have our tent set up, our merch set up, cornhole, all that jazz set up in 4 empty spots. They're going to be at the very end of on the riverside, so we're actually going to end up being usually where we're at before all this happened. But now there's not going to be any cars driving through us because we're at the very end, so there's no reason for a car to go that far back, which means Thunderstruck's going to be a lot more chill. No worrying about cars trying to get into our parking spots or anything like that around us. So that's going to be great. I'm really excited for that. So come out early, and that's all the pregame stuff.
And you were mentioning, well, if you listen to Houndsy, Ariana was talking about TIFO, so there will be a TIFO.
I feel so okay. So I was at a St. Patrick's Day party on Saturday, so I could not go to TIFO, but Ariana and a dedicated crew of I think like 6 or 7 people went to the Hound Stadium on Saturday to paint TIFO, and as Pittsburgh is wont to do, it just started to snow. So they're outside painting TIFO at the stadium in the snow, and I just felt so bad. They got done. They're, trials and tribulations later with the snow, dry paints, having to go on a paint run in the middle of TIFO, all that jazz. They got it done. They were watching the game on an iPad while they were painting TIFO during the game. So it was an ordeal. But I've seen pictures. TIFO looks great. I can't wait for everyone to see it on Friday.
Best fans in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So if you're, first of all, get down to the game, show your appreciation to the TIFO crew when it goes up. If you're at home, make sure you raise a glass when the TIFO goes up pregame, for everybody that shows up and put in the time for that. Because it doesn't just happen. There's a lot of effort that goes into that. So yeah, it's going to be a party. I mean, legitimately, it's going to be a party. Everybody's been itching for this. The team is selling Icy Light t-shirts, which they announced today, which are kind of weird. But good for them, I guess. Like I looked at it and first I thought the Steel Army was doing it. Josh, I messaged you and I was like, wait, the Steel Army partner with Icy Light? And you said, you mean the team? And I went, ooh.
Yeah, it's not my bag, but it kind of looks like they made it look almost like a jersey. So it has like the crest on the top right, and the sponsor of Icy Light. But the back has, I forget what it says, but it's pretty cool looking back to it. But yeah.
Potentially some foreshadowing, like maybe Icy Light becomes a big enough sponsor that they,
I don't know. I don't get it because I thought Straub was still doing the official beer of the Riverhounds. They have another. They have that what is it called, the Olympico or whatever?
Yeah.
That's the mixer in a can.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Listen, if there's more partnerships, especially local partnerships like that with the team, that's only going to be better for the team and everyone involved. So, yeah, the t-shirts looked a bit like, the freebies you get whenever you go into the stadium, but you can pick yours up for $25 at the team store on game day, or you can get them online. If you want what looks like a Hounds jersey with IC Light as the sponsor on the front. Cool. But yeah, so that'll be on sale there. Josh, if anybody has not gotten their Steel Army membership yet, they will be on sale at the tailgate. Yes,
for sure. Yeah, I have mailed out all the ones that were set for delivery. So if you did already buy one online, it's in the mail. So you should be getting it. I think it's like 2-day or 3-day shipping. So you should be getting it before the home opener. So never fear, it is coming your way. But if you didn't get one already, come tailgate. Like I said, it starts at noon, probably going to like around 6:30, depending on how many people are straggling in the parking lot. And yeah, pick up your membership.
I was asking for a friend. Clearly,
I noticed you're not on the list.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting until Friday. I will get it Friday.
That's fair. That's fair.
So guys, Miami. Let's talk about Miami. Coming to town.
They're crap. What?
They're crap. There you go. Kev says they're crap. So far, they've drawn 1-1 with Tulsa in their home opener, and they lost 1-0 to New Mexico. It was a late sloppy handball in the box. Otherwise, they could have drawn that game too. They could be sitting on 2 points at this point. Both their games were at home though, so this is their first road game. When you look at sort of who is on Miami and what we can try to take away from the two games. I think one of the interesting matchups is going to be they have a player named Ryan Telfer. Ryan Telfer. He's their outside left mid. I think watching that matchup between him and Rivera is going to be very interesting. The guy can put in a cross, but he also likes to cut inside and actually attack. So that's going to be a name to watch. And the other one was in their first game against Tulsa. Number 10, Velo, he basically ripped a ball from a good 5-6 yards outside the 18 and put it top shelf. So he's another one to keep an eye out for. No Cristiano Francois with Miami this year. He's with Rio Grande, so we don't have to worry about him. He always seemed to come out and try to put one behind us. Yeah, I mean that's sort of what I got on Miami. Kev, you saying that they're crap? We're gonna find out. We'll find out. How legit Tulsa are because we have a really quick turnaround. We play Friday. We play Tulsa again on Tuesday. So when we do our next show, we will literally have a game the following day.
I saw on Miami's lineup against Tulsa, Akinyode. For that name rings out in my ear as familiar, and yes, you guys are both nodding your head. So,
yeah,
it's also. I mean, this is a very anecdotal thing, but like last year, they were better on the road than they were at home for some reason, which is a weird little thing for this team in particular. But at the same time, not winning your 2 home games in a row is pretty damning. And like, again, not looking at standings, looking at power rankings, both the USL site has them below us, and so does Backheeled, which is done by USL Tactics, John. They both have them around like 15th or 14th place, whereas we are closer up to like 7 actually in USL power rankings. But John, on the other hand, doesn't have us that high. They have us at 13. So yeah,
That'll be fixed.
yeah.
Soon enough. We just need to invite John back on. Every time we invite John back on, we just go up a little.
Yeah. Like we didn't go up any last game, even though we got a hat trick and won 3-1. For some reason, no changes in our position on backfield. So just saying.
Why are we
up,
saying
John?
their name? Yeah, why are
What's
they
up?
just...
Poor John. You can't get anyone to be happy with him.
I know.
He's just like-
Well, gentlemen, what do we think? Hounds' first home game of the season, Highmark Stadium. It's going to be a little chilly. Make sure that you dress appropriately. Josh, we talk about wearing the Hawaiian shirt maybe over the jackets, just to
What's
show
the weather
them
going to
off a
be
bit.
like?
What's that?
What's the weather going to be like?
I mean, it's way too early for people to be
yeah.
guess on this weather. It's Pittsburgh. The weather changes every single time you look at it.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to wait until like 2 days out before I look. But right now it's looking cold, but it was looking rainy and cold. Now it's looking just cold for the most part. So I think we're gonna be sitting pretty as far as I go.
I would say by cold, it's like mid 40s to mid 50s. Like it's kind of around there. So you figure maybe mid 50s at game time, temperature drops as it gets darker out. So I will be wearing gloves because my fingers almost fell off at the one preseason game I was at. Josh was legitimately concerned for a little bit. So predictions. Kev, Liz said just drink more. Thanks, Liz. I'll get myself one of those Olympicos and see how it is. Kev, you're big up in yourself here on the pick'ems. So why don't you go first? Tell us what your score prediction is here, big guy. Fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's total tangent. Did you see, Kev? I mentioned you in the tweet, but Knoxville has a jersey that's a topographical map. I was like, that's like custom made for you, man.
The reason why I didn't respond to it because I had too many nuanced opinions about it. One of them being,
of course you did.
Like, well, first the kit sponsor is KUB, which is like our utility company, and it's big. Like it's big on the jersey. It's just like KUB, and it's just and I was just like, that's weird. I don't know, but we were on. I think Knoxville played like. I could be wrong. I was going to say, I think they played right after the Hounds got done playing or something like that. Because we were on Hulu and we were just looking around. And Riley was like, Knoxville. And I was like, let's put it on. It was a decent crowd. And I mean, I know earlier, like you
should go to a game.
You should. No, I think we will. But I mean, I don't know. We were kind of like putting our nose up. We're like, tickets are $16 for like a Knoxville game. Like, really? Okay. But so anyway, but yeah, we'll probably end up going to a game. But going back to
predictions.
Prediction. What you got?
I'm gonna say 1-0 Hounds.
1-0 Hounds. Josh, what do you think?
I was thinking 2-0 Hounds.
I too am thinking. Well, okay. I just said that the past 2 games I picked the halftime score. So I am going to say 3-0 Hounds because I was going to say 2-0 Hounds, but I'll say 3-0 Hounds.
Who's scoring for you guys? Like Dikwa, if he hits his rate as last season, is not scoring for another 8 games. Like
this isn't the Dikwa of last season, though. This is the Dikwa of 2023.
I could see us getting
Golden Boot Dikwa.
I could see us getting a set piece goal in front of the Steel Army. I could see Mertz putting one away.
I love how specific you are with your
That's right.
Left foot,
That's right.
3 steps.
And I think Tula gets his goal, so that all of us that have been paying attention are like super stoked, and everyone else is like, "Well, wait, who is that? What now?" And yeah, I think it happens. Chalk it up.
I'm not saying Mertz header yet. That's going to be later in the season, but I am calling a Mertz header at some point this season because I think that'll be hilarious.
Now, let me say this, Kev. If I'm being this specific, if I get 2 of those right, do I get bonus points in the pick'em?
You're the person who controls it.
I'm just gonna give myself bonus points. All right, I won't. Okay, no. but Kev, you said 1-0. Josh, you said 2-0. I said 3-0. Liz said 2-1 Hounds. So that's what we think. As I mentioned, there will be a post that goes up, I think, Thursday morning where anybody that wants to play, share your pick 'em, go over, add it as a comment on our YouTube channel on that post, and yeah, we'll go from there, guys. The last question that I had for you was just the fact that we are playing Tulsa on Tuesday. Do you think that impacts how Lily approaches this game on Friday? My gut is no. I think it's the home opener. You go for it. You do whatever you got to do, and then you pick up the pieces on Tuesday if you need to. Josh, you're nodding in agreement.
Yeah, I think home opener is a big deal. I think, he probably has a little bit of pressure from, the whole front office, from Tuffy being like, this is it. This is like our big chance to put our best foot forward. Like, you got to go all out, get this win. And plus, it's a weekend game versus a weekday game. There's reasons.
Kev, do you think we'd do anything differently?
I don't know. I don't think like he'd feel confident to know how to change. Like, I think he's probably looking at his bench or looking at his entire squad and thinking, okay, if I want to save Kenny for Tulsa, what do I do? And I don't think he has an obvious answer for that yet. I think as the season grows, those answers become apparent to him. But I just don't think he has an answer to that now. So almost like by default, I think he's going to play probably the same lineup and then get to Tulsa and just kind of look around and saying, all right, who can run, and just, start them or something.
It could be as easy as 60-minute subs instead of 75th-minute subs. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you just bring in the subs a little bit earlier than you would normally.
And this is why I'm thinking that we're still a signing or two away from being done here. I feel like there are still some areas of this field where it's just like, what do you do? And there could be guys on the bench that it's just like we just haven't had a chance to bed them in yet. Cool, but it feels like we're a little bit light in some areas. So I think defense, at least the center back position, feels really good. There's that other center back that we haven't seen yet that that Houndsy was sort of hyping up. And then I think attacking wise, we have enough bodies that hopefully there's something there. So it just feels like in that midfield, and maybe Zoot Suit, I know that's not his real name, but like maybe Zoot Suit is helping to fill in that role. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
When do we see Blackstock? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I was interested in that too. I mean, he makes the bench again.
Yeah, he made the past 2 games and hasn't gotten in.
No, I didn't catch that.
So yeah, I mean, it was Tony Lopez and Tula who got in against Birmingham, and then just Tula got in against.
I completely forgot about Tony Lopez too. Oh, we're fine in attack. I mean, we're not fine, but like we have enough bodies.
We have bodies. Yes, we just don't have bodies in that central midfield unless you do something where you pull Mertz back and you put somebody else out in that attack, which I don't think you do at this point. He's been after his goal and after his, he got sort of kind of an assist on the set piece. He set up Tula for that one goal. Like you don't
put Show and me in the midfield. He's winning headers. He has the legs to like intercept and make challenges. He can make a late run into the box. I don't know.
You don't even want to start the guy, and now you're like, put him in the midfield. He's got everything.
Well, only because I think we're probably the most obvious hole is in like partnering Etu and Kenny in the midfield right now. I'm not putting Mertz as a pure midfielder, is my point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm really down for this idea of putting like big strikers in the midfield. I want to do it with Dos Santos, even though we don't have him. I want to do it with Show and me. So yeah.
That's what Kev thinks. And our score prediction is what we think. Obviously, like we always say, let us know what you think. Get involved with Pick'em. Head over. You can find us on Twitter. Find us on YouTube. We'll have the post on YouTube. That's where the official Pick'em is. But we'll link to it from Twitter. Guys, anything else for this one?
That's all I got. Get
down to Highmark. Be there for the home opener. I'm assuming it's not sold out just because it's March in Pittsburgh, but it's going to be a party regardless. So hit up the Salvation Army, get yourself some Hawaiian shirts, and get your butt to Highmark. And hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you very, very soon.